Hi guys, it's Arielle. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to Greece. Today we're going to be talking about olives. For over 6,000 years, the olives from the sacred olive trees of the Mediterranean have been harvested and pressed into a golden oil. The olive tree is a symbol of wealth, victory, and peace, and historically, olive oil was much more than just food. It was also used for medicine, rituals, cosmetics, and fuel. But that history seems so far off and so far away when you can literally go into any grocery store and pick up a bottle off the shelf. On my last trip to Greece, I became really curious about this oil that I was literally just using to make potato fries. I needed to know, what exactly makes olive oil so special and healthy? And how do you go from olive to oil? Today, you guys are very much in luck because my friend George, an organic olive farmer from Crete, is going to give us a tour of his fields, answer my questions about olive oil, and actually take us to the harvest.
We are here now in Kato Χωριό. It's the area of Ierapetra. And this is one of my fields. It has about 55 olive trees, and we cultivate also some plants, aromatic plants.
George's field, the field that I'm sitting in right now, is actually really special because of its location in relation to the village.
Here it was a field that it was near the village, so the people of the generations before, they used to have all the fruits and the food for their houses. So they put mandarins, lemons, etc., and they were also cultivating to have the vegetables, etc.
So George actually does a lot more than just produce really good extra virgin olive oil. He is a very creative and unique producer in that he wanted to find a way to incorporate all the vegetation from his fields, all the fruits, the vegetables, the herbs of the island of Crete into his oils.
We make aromatic olive oils with natural extraction. We don't use the usual industrial method, that is to put an essence to the olive oil. I want you, when you go away from here and, for example, you have olive oil with basil, to remember to have the taste and the aroma of this field here and the aroma of Crete.
Now, let's quickly talk about quality because there are three main types of olive oil that you can buy on the market, and there is one that you most definitely need to avoid.
Olive oil is, I think it's the only oil that comes from a simple pressure of the fruit. So when we say olive oil, it's the fruit, the juice of olives. If you want olive oil, you must buy only extra virgin olive oil or virgin olive oil. The rest, if you see natural olive oil, poor olive oil, etc., it's elaborated in a way, filtered, raffinated, etc., of old olive oils. The best quality is the extra virgin olive oil and the virgin olive oil.
Now, having talked to so many farmers, this is actually a really interesting point. Like George mentioned, the best type of olive oil to consume is extra virgin olive oil. And the classification for extra virgin olive oil is made based on three criteria. How quickly do you press the olives after harvesting? What is the quality of the olives? Have they been infected by bugs? Did you step on half of them during the harvest? Are the olives unripe or acidic? And how do you bottle your olive oil after it's been pressed? Do you put it in a bottle that protects it from sunlight, for example? What I found most fascinating is what the farmers had to say about plain olive oil. Like George said, the industrials who make olive oil use the lowest quality olives. So these are all of the olives that the farmers don't want. Maybe they're too high in acidity, or they taste bad because they've been infested with bugs, or what is very likely the case is that they are extremely old. And consuming this type of olive oil is problematic because you are getting 0% of the health benefits. Olive oil, or extra virgin olive oil, is best consumed fresh. as early as possible after the harvest, and this is because over time, olive oil loses its medicinal characteristics. In a study published by Harvard, they found that during 28 years of follow-up, participants who consumed the highest amount of olive oil, so greater than half a tablespoon or 7 grams per day, had a 19% lower risk of early death compared to people who never or rarely used olive oil. For cause-specific death, those with higher olive oil intake had a 19% lower risk of heart disease death, 17% lower risk of cancer death, 29% lower risk of dying from a neurodegenerative disease such as Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, and an 18% lower risk of dying from respiratory diseases. My best tip for you guys if you want to be buying and consuming the highest quality extra virgin olive oil is that you look for bottles that actually have a harvested date on the bottle. That way you know that the farmers are keeping track of their harvest and that it's not just a mix of old and very old and acidic olives, and that you really are getting the freshest product. Anyways, that is my 2 cents. Now back to George.
Okay, you comment, I will show you some more things in this field. Here you see the basil, okay? This is, we say the Greek basil, and this lives also in the winter. In reality, the basil is not Greek, it's not Italian. The basil is from Southeast Asia, India, etc. Okay, it is called basil because during the East Roman Imperium, Byzantine Imperium, it was the plant that the Imperator liked a lot, and his palace was full of it. So that's where the word basil comes from. Basil in Greek is Vasilias, means the king. So it was the plant of the king, okay? Here it's only compost and sponges, natural sea sponges. So like this they keep the water. And here we used an old channel for the water. It was coming from the fontaine. Now we have plastic tubes, so we don't use it, for the mint.
George has 2 ancient trees in his field that are about 1,200 years old, which we'll see now and hear about how you can actually calculate the age of an olive tree.
The most scientific method would be to take material from the center of the trunk and make radiochronology. In most of the cases, or the trunk is empty, there is not all the trunk, or it's empty and you cannot find material from the center. Not so scientific, but the method that they usually do in all over the world is this one of the perimeter. You can count the perimeter. This is about almost 6 meters. So you count the perimeter, and having in mind that the olive tree depends from the region, if it's water, etc., etc. The olive tree grows from half to 1 millimeter every year. The restaurant of our big enemy, the mouses, that they like grenades. And usually they make a lot of damages in the plastic tubes for water in summertime. They eat the plastic, they destroy the plastic to get the water.
Walking through George's field is a bit like stepping back in time. The fruit trees and the gardens weren't the only things that the people of the past left behind.
I didn't know that they had a garbage place in the other generations. When ceramic was broken, they throw it here. I have found also, this is from the Second World. It was like a small bomb, I don't know the name, okay? And they throw it here. Ceramics like this, they are not ancient, it's just 100 years, okay? Also, the only garbage they had was the ceramic, the cups. They had this cup for the field when they were going, and bottles. I don't know, maybe it was medicine, something it was, I don't know what. So This is the garbage place.
Now the coolest part, George is going to show you guys how the people of Crete harvest their olives.
Let me show you how we harvest the olives, because the principles are the same since 1,000 years ago. You have first, you put nets. Now we have plastic, but years ago it was from this stuff, and they were very heavy when they were wet. Okay, you put the nets, and after you have to make the olives fall down. Before they used to do with a piece of wood like this. This is a real one that my grandfather gave it to me 50 years ago when I was a child. What you do is to make olives fall, but without making a trauma in the tree, okay, like this. Okay, and in this tree I have put for protection of the insects. It's the only thing that I use, and some techniques. Kaolin, it's a mineral that makes the tree white and the fruit. And this protects from the insects. The insect does like and cannot see the white color. This tree usually gives about 7 kilos of olive oil a year. That means about 40 kilos of olives. This year is a very bad season for all Mediterranean countries, and it will give maybe 5 kilos of olives, 1 kilo of olive oil. But you cannot have a contract, make an agreement with the nature. This tree owns to us for the next year. We trust it. So I will show you how we harvest now with the machines.
It's so funny, you guys, because the way that George explains this is so effortlessly, but you have to remember that he has about 700 trees, and when an olive tree is filled with olives, it can take between 30 and 45 minutes to harvest one tree alone. Okay, so you can imagine how long it would take to harvest all of his trees during a good season. And not just that, but the machines that you're using are heavy. Like, I have tried my hand at harvesting for a few days now, and you feel it in the arms, okay? After 10 trees, you're like, it's a struggle. And it's also very repetitive work. Like, brushing the trees is the same movement, and laying the nets down. Sometimes you need 6 or 7 nets per tree, and it's just very repetitive, and you have to be focused, and it is without a doubt the hardest work that I have done. I have a newfound appreciation for farming, that's for sure. Anyways, back to the original field to hear a little bit more about organic olive farming specifically.
We don't use any kind of chemical. We don't use any kind of fertilizer. We just, with some techniques, help the nature to make its work and give us the fruit. It's a little bit more work, but we are sure that everything is healthy for us and for the consumers, because all the time they say to us, this is the limit of poison that may have a fruit or a tomato or a vegetable. Okay, and in the market, most of them are under the limit, it's true. But they can never say what a poison that we find in one fruit with the poison that we find in tomato, with the poison that we may find in olive oil, what it does, the combination of them in our body. And they cannot say, because the possible combinations might be thousands. We want free of any kind of poisons, of chemicals, our fields. And we need also all the animals, even the mouses that we hate them, okay? We hope that a snake or a bird, a falcon, come to eat it. So we respect biodiversity.
So throughout this process and actually participating in the harvest, I couldn't help but notice it is extremely hard work. So I was curious, What made George so passionate about organic olive farming, about making his creations and all the aromatic oils?
I will make you a personal confess, okay? When I have a problem or I'm depressed or I have to think something serious or something happens, to find calm and time, I have two ways. Or I go in the garden or to work with flowers, with plants, etc. Or I go to the kitchen, to clean the kitchen, to cook something for friends, to create something. Sometimes I make a dinner only for me, dinner for one. At the end, that's what I did in my, I choose to do in my life, to work with plants and elaborate them and make a product of them, to create something, food. And if a young person asks me what to do in his life, I will say only one thing: do what you love, do what your passion is. You will find your way, maybe you will make mistakes, maybe you will fail, but it's your own road and you must follow your heart.
That is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this tour of the olive field and hearing more about the cultivation and the harvest and production of olive oil. I will leave George's Instagram link down below and on the screen here as well, which I highly recommend that you guys follow, because in the coming weeks we're going to be doing a giveaway of some of George's award-winning aromatic oils, which I think would be a really special gift to receive. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know what you think down below, and if you have time, please leave a comment for George. This is his first time on social media, so I think it would make him very happy to hear about what people are thinking. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one.